What's good, y'all? Welcome to Randomville. We've been coming up, I think it was episode 6. So week 6, we've been doing this. Feeling good. Got a lot of people showing up. Got a lot of people want to participate. This week we got Uncle Will, showing up there. And
Thank you.
we got Moses showing up. Fortunately, we lost John to an anniversary dinner. And Jorley, we lost him to working late. So we're going to start this off. How you guys doing?
Hey man, we're just trying to weather the storm, man. These last week, a week
Not
ago,
bad, man.
yeah, we could go from today, man. Things are just nuts.
I lost you, Uncle Will. Can't hear you.
Oh, you still can't hear me? Hang on. Is that any better?
That sounds better.
Okay. But yeah, over the last, a week ago from today, man.
It's like when you start talking, like your volume goes away.
Okay, hang on a second.
Like when you get on a good roll.
Yeah. Go on.
All right, I switched to the external microphone. Is that any better?
I can hear you there, yeah.
All right. So, I was saying, since last Monday, man, a week ago today, man, things have just gotten, in the country as a whole, man, has just gone from bad to worse.
Yeah, definitely some crazy stuff. Honestly, seeing, I'm one of those guys who, especially like on social media, I take the things that I see and really try to analyze them for myself. Whatever outlet or whatever I'm watching a video on or watching some news on, I always take it with a grain of salt, just because I know that no matter what, whether it be like a established news syndicate or something like that, they tend to swing things their perspective. So when the George Floyd video came out and it was completely raw, I just kind of watched it, audio on, watched it all the way through, and it was rough to get through, man. So it was hard, and we're talking. I was in the military for 10 years. Uncle Will, you were in the military.
Yeah, 12 years, man, 13 years.
Yeah. And it's not beyond me to have seen death during that period of time, but it's just it's rough. It's rough to see something like that happen right on camera.
Yeah, it's definitely ultimately, whether if you're watching the news or not, if you know what happened and you're aware of what's going on, it's a very hurtful situation, and honestly, like, ever since it happened, even before it happened with all the other senseless murders, when it comes to police brutality and stuff like that, it's very unnerving. To go about your day and to have it like on your mind, and I can tell it's a feeling that is very, very, very strong now, and like exactly like how a lot of people are saying, it's about talking, it's about asking yourself questions as well too, not like how do you really feel about it and all that. There's so many factors in what's going on right now, and even with the COVID thing, and in this right on top of it, it's just crazy to think about, man. It's absurd.
Yeah, this I saw something today, and they were saying, hey, is COVID over? Because this thing has dominated the news for the news cycle for basically the last 5-6 days.
Yeah, I think just last week we were talking about staying safe and letting the country kind of reopen on its own, and not really participating, not being the first, pioneers to go out there and go to malls and go out there and go shopping and just kind of sit back and let the people who really want to go out and let it calm down. And, it was almost immediately after that, everything kind of switched tones to where it is now, and to the current situation, to where the protesting and riots are happening. It's just kind of somber tone. As bad as it was getting on quarantine, it's kind of changed moods to even not depressing, but just even a more sad tone, just because of where we're at now.
Agreed. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a very sensitive time right now. Very sensitive time right now. I mean, with everything, with the economy, with politics, with justice. I honestly feel like this one is gonna carry on until there is change. Like, I feel like this was it. You know what I mean? Like, we've had enough. And I mean, to just let this one go, you know what I mean? It would just make things 1,000 times worse. You know what I mean? So it's something's gonna give here. I'm not saying soon, but sooner than we think. I think something's gonna give. I have faith anyway.
No, I definitely agree with you, and I think this isn't the first. I mean, there's obviously been other cases and of injustice, especially when it comes to racially charged injustice, and the world really doesn't think it sees it, right. There's a majority of the United States who thinks that it either doesn't used to think that it didn't either exist or it was going away.
Right.
This kind of brings it into light, and even in cities like ours, San Diego, you would think something like Southern California, sunny, we're right on the border. There's so much cultural diversity, we wouldn't have issues that relate to like racial inequality and even racial violence and injustice. But I mean, I don't know if you guys seen it, but right here in our backyard, Santee, all the way out east, they're bringing to light, kind of what they're known for, what their history was, and it's disheartening because they, first off, my sister lives out there, but you also have things like it's the only place that has a Cane's, fried chicken place in San Diego. I'm not trying to drive out there to go get Cane's no more, just because of what's going on out there. It's like
just because of the feeling, man, and that's an honest feeling. You know what I
mean? And it's not even just food. Like we've been fishing a few times to the Santee Lakes. Like, I don't want to go and chill at Santee Lakes to go fishing, just because it's in that area, and Santee Lakes might be like the safest haven there in that area because there's already people there, and it's kind of a neutral ground because people have parties there and all, and there's the park rangers. But it's still in the back of my head. Like, I don't want to go there, and if I start getting dirty looks, I'm gonna have to pack up and just bounce. Like, why do I even want to chance it at that point?
Yeah, because that's where a couple of weeks ago, Mo, remember we were looking at it was on the news too, where the guy was in I don't know, it was a Costco grocery store. Remember, with the hood on?
Oh, yeah, with the swastika.
Yeah,
man. I mean, it's relevant there, and it's relevant in a lot of other cities, and I want to say most, but I mean, overall, man, it makes things very uncomfortable, man. It makes things very uncomfortable to have to worry about these things. Like, I mean, the other day, my son Ozias asked, he's like, "Hey, Dad, are cops good guys?" And I had to sit back and think for a second, and I was like, man, that's a very simple question with a very complex answer. And I mean, people say not all cops are bad cops. How do you know that?
Yeah, how do you distinguish which ones are good?
Yeah.
You're being
Yeah.
faced with someone pulling you over for speeding, right? And it's not something that, in our minds as adults, as far as we've come in life, it's hard for us to process. This isn't things that 4 or 5 year olds should be worrying about, but it is something where even my
Yeah.
nephew, he was watching TV with my sister-in-law, and they were watching it, and he said, "Is this planet Earth?" Like, how do you
Wow.
explain
Let
to
me
a
bring that.
kid when he's seeing this and
Yeah.
he doesn't relate it to what he should be
Let's see,
seeing?
let's see.
Yep. Yeah, exactly, man. It's a shame, man. It definitely is. It's an it, it's an embarrassment to the human race.
It
That
is definitely.
it's it's more than black, being a minority. It's it's a human race. Will had said it best. It's a human race.
Yeah, there's only one race. It's the human race. Every time they start throwing in, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever, those are made up things by human beings. God made one race, and it's a human race, man.
It is, and even though I identify myself with my heritage, I'm just a human being, right?
Right.
And to go back to what I said earlier, I served in the military with all different ethnicities. I slept in beds on either side, all different ethnicities. We all shared the same birthing compartment. We all shared the same toilets. We all shared the same showers. And I mean, you think about it,
Yeah.
especially in the military,
Yeah.
there's no closer you can get to kind of
There we
all
go.
that mixing. You're just kind of forced to live with each other, especially like on deployment. You're just for 6 to 8 months, you're just forced to live with each other in a tight, compact space. And if you're not working, you're hanging out with these guys. You're finding like a common ground. You're finding common games to play, common movies to watch,
Right.
and it forms like this kind of family environment.
Yeah.
And to see something like this happen, and to go back on that, it forms this family environment, and we're out there trying to do things like protect freedoms. We're out there trying to stop the bad guys for the United States. We're for the world. We're out there trying to protect something that we want to come home to and be proud of, right? And so to be a part of that, and then to separate and sit here and I'm watching the news or scrolling through my phone, and I see what's happening. It just makes me sad that like it makes me even question, like, did I waste 10 years signing my life on the line for people who don't even care, about each other, locally, when I'm floating around the world making sure nothing comes into harm's way back home.
Right. I've thought that too before, man. It's just,
Yeah.
I did it for my family and my friends. Obviously, the other people, there's people, they're part of the country, so you're doing it for them, as well. But really, for me, it's for my family and my friends, man.
Yeah. Um,
That's
so
what's up, man.
yeah, and I don't want to harp on this because I know it's what everyone sees, and we try to be a kind of a funny, lighthearted sports podcast, but
Okay.
it's out there. It's out there, and it's something that we have to face. So it's something that we do need to talk about. On that note, kind of relating the two, between what's happening right now and sports. I mean, I don't want to pick sides here, but how do you feel about Cap stepping back into the Kaepernick stepping back into kind of the limelight from what he was doing, and calling for justice for, and now people kind of giving him that throwback, like Cap was doing this in 2016, like, and he was trying to do it peacefully. And so how do you guys feel about, people, especially in the sports world, bringing back up what happened with Cap?
It's relevant, and it's relevant because I showed Mo something the other day somebody sent, and it was, it all ties in. It was, they showed a picture of like the 60s protest, and they said, oh, this is a protest. And then they showed now the rioting. This is a crime. So I put the picture of the guy who killed that picture of him kneeling on him, and the picture of Cap. I said, this is a protest. This is a crime. Because it is.
It is.
I
It is.
never heard back from the guy either after that. So
No. Yeah. And I don't want to go into support and the ideas of who was right, who was wrong in that, but I definitely think that it did at one point, even though it was like both sides were arguing whether it's right or not the way he did it. It did at one point shed light on the topic that we're dealing with now, and I kind of hope nowadays with the protests and the riots and what's going on in the world right now. I'm just hoping that we don't get into that. We don't the U.S. doesn't get deeper into that debate. Is it right? Is it wrong? That kind of thing, and focuses on what needs to happen as far as this case to show that the U.S. is progressive, that the U.S. is about social equality.
Yeah, definitely. And I've always felt like any one of us can be a representative, for what is going on and for the human race. You know what I mean? And we all use our platform as much as we can, like what we have, what we're doing. And when Kaepernick did that, I felt the same exact way. And when they're bringing it up again, I'm like, hell yeah. You know what I mean? We have to say things. We have to use our voices. We have to let people know what is going on, regardless of what the opposite thinks. You know what I mean? We have to put it in front of them in order to even try to move in a different direction. You know what I mean? To have these people move in a different direction with a different ideology. But I think a lot of these people who are on the opposite end of this are very prideful, man. And that sucks, man. And we all know that pride is one of the 7 deadly sins, man. And it's just a negative energy that is just has been around for 400 plus years. You know what I mean?
And to speak on that point, there is a lot of what I'm happy about is there are a lot of people who do have the platform that are either speaking up or are trying to use their persona to kind of shed light on things. I don't know if you guys saw Denzel Washington was in I think it was West Hollywood or North Hollywood or something like that, and the cops were having an alteration with a homeless guy, and he actually stepped in to kind of moderate between the two. Just so the tension wouldn't rise up. And there's some other videos that recently came out. There's the one of the pictures of J. Cole, how he's always been part of these social events where he's used his fame to kind of shed light on that. He's down there, he's out there protesting, he's out there speaking up. And on that one, I saw that and kind of followed the history back 100%. I'm a streaming music guy. Like I have a membership and I stream music, but 100%, I was like, I like J. Cole's music right off the back. I'm gonna go support, and I'm just like start buying because when somebody like that shows me that side of them, it's like I want to support them even more to keep them at the level that they are, so they continue to do things like that.
Did you see the one from LL Cool J today? Bo, I know you saw it. Man, you could tell that was anger, man. You could hear the anger. All the words are true. Completely true. You just look in his eyes and see the anger, man.
Yeah, that's a thing that,
and the hurt, not just anger, hurt too, man.
That's a thing that I've always believed in, like that I really believe in when it comes to like times of hardship and struggle and oppression is art. Is art, like poetry and all that. And I've been waiting for these rappers to start really putting it out, man, because I really feel that art, it can change people's souls, man. It can change. I mean, it did it to me, and it keeps doing it for me. You know what I mean? As long as I'm listening to it, you know what I mean? Like listening to it, not just hearing it, And to see that LL Cool J one, that I was like, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, man. Let it be known. Let it be known.
Speaking of art, well, one of my favorite songs growing up, when I first heard it, first off, I heard him sing. I heard it through the grapevine, on, I forgot what I was watching, and I instantly fell in love with his voice, and I wanted to know more about him. And I was a little kid, little tiny kid, and my dad said, I asked my dad, and I said, "Hey, who's Marvin Gaye?" And he's like, "Oh, you like Marvin Gaye?" And he gave me, my dad was one of those guys who like bought technology when it first came out, and he had a single disc CD player, and he only had like 5 CDs, and one of them was the greatest hits of Marvin Gaye.
Oh,
And he put it in, and I think it was either song number 1 or 2 on that CD. It was "What's Going On," and when I first heard that song, like I fell in love with it instantly. Like
Yeah.
it's just so much about love and spreading, peace amongst everybody, and then I kind of looked into what that song was about and the time when he wrote it and performed it and recorded it and what was going on there. And it's just even on my Instagram I posted it, like that song, because even today that song holds weight to how we should be seeing each other, right, and how we should treat each other. And
Yeah.
when it comes, like Moses was saying, when it comes to art, it's not just how many records you can sell, but how many times can you make a song that really reaches people.
yeah, that entire album that was one of his, I think it was from the late 60s, early 70s. And he's got, Inner City Blues. There's so many different songs. And you know what, though, Chris, Mo, those songs are relevant to today, what's going on today. They still are. And those songs are, 40, 50 years old?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, and it's relevant. And like I said, I post on my Instagram because I'm watching this stuff just like I can't believe what I'm seeing, right? Like you would think we've, as a human race, we've gotten far enough where this stuff isn't, something that's as big as it is now. And that's just my wish too, as having a multiracial family, as having a lot of ethnicities in my family. And when I say family, I don't just mean who I'm related to by blood or by law or anything like that. I mean family. Like I always told some of the guys I served with, like they were my family, because we spent so much time and we had each other's backs on everything, that they were
Right.
my family. And I cover everything, every country. I have friends from everywhere, and it's just so weird that other people can't feel the love for just everyone like that. Like you just see somebody that isn't the right skin tone to you, and then you just be angry at it. Like, get on a ship with 300 dudes, all different ethnicities. Like, show me that you can hate somebody being that close to them, like having to eat chow with them at 3 meals a day, having to, sit with them to watch, the newest movie, to having to stand watch right next to them for, 12 hours, sitting right next to each other. Like, show me that you could still hate somebody. Like, it's just not possible in my mind. But then I have to see it, and that's the worst part.
It's, again, that kind of vitriol and hate. None of us are born with it. You're taught that stuff. It's taught. It's you're not born with it. And it makes me crazy every time I hear it, whether I hear it verbally or I read it, someone posts something that's just way out there. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And I can kind of relate, to what Chris is saying, in terms of growing around like a multi-diversity, growing up in Hawaii, you don't, you hear about the racism, but people there are a people, one of my homies who actually just passed away recently, God rest his soul, he used to always tell me and the other group of friends, blood don't make us any closer, man, and I've always carried that with me throughout my life, man, ever since he told me that. And it just feels a little different when you say that to yourself, and you look at the people around you. It erases color. It's a spiritual matter. It's a human matter.
It is.
Mhm.
It is.
And it's just crazy to think about that. That is so heavy. It's so heavy here in the States, man. Still to this day, and now it's being filmed and recorded. So now it's coming back out of the darkness and right into the light. and now things are really getting shooken up, you know. And it's crazy. Like ever since this George Floyd, uh,
Oh, lost you, Will.
I've been
Oh,
seeing
There we
there he
go.
is.
like a lot more like little videos of. I've been seeing a lot of like little clips of like confrontations with the police, and it's always very like there's a big huge question mark, like why are they acting like that, man? Like still, like why are they acting like that, man? It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
And it gets me too, because what you're saying about the connection between people to people, human to human, like it's a spiritual thing, and I don't see how, um, race or skin tone could put a barrier between two people, before they even try to make that connection.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
I've found, just like you said, like I have, just because your blood doesn't make you any closer, or just because we're not blood doesn't make it so that we're not family. I got guys that I text and I call and we talk on the phone, at least once a month, just to reconnect, just to make sure everyone's good. And that's a family thing, right? I want to check in on them. I want to make sure they're good, and see if there's anything that I can do, anything I can help with. And so to
Exactly.
preconceive in your head that I'm not going to try to make that bond with you without even knowing you, just because of skin tone or ethnicity. It's just a horrible thing to even think about. Like, why some of the guys that are like my bestest friends in the Navy, if I just looked at them on the street, I would have never, and we didn't serve any time together. I probably would have never tried to make that connection, just because from the looks of it, we wouldn't have any kind of common meeting ground, right? And
Right.
then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a day into us talking, we share something that we're both passionate about, right? We both love to lift weights, or we both love video games, or we both love this kind of music, and you wouldn't be able to tell that about some people, some people wouldn't be able to see, like, I'm a country music fan. Nobody would be able to see that by looking at me, by the way I dress, by the way I look. Um, but I like country music. And then when people find that out, like, wait, you like country music? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And that's just a trait of mine, that of a form of art that I like. Think about all the other things that are in there, that if you look at me and you don't want to connect just because I don't look like you, think of all the other things I'm gonna miss out on, or we gonna miss out on. And
Yeah.
Right.
I honestly
Yeah.
think everyone needs to take a time and think
Yeah.
about all the things you might be missing out on, just because of your preconceived notion that we're not the same.
That is so true, Chris. So true. I couldn't agree with you more on that. Man.
All right, I don't want to drag on it too long. You guys got anything else to say about the topic?
Nah, I just want to say, in life, when you um, meet people with an open heart, in a neutral place in your soul. Don't pick a side right away, man, because this is where the division happens.
Yep. That is so true. Got to have an open mind and an open heart.
And as a country, we do so much more when we come together than when we are as a public, when we're fighting each other. That's one thing. I wanted to say was, we could do so much more. People are tired of the way the government runs us. Like, think about if we all came together as people to fight against those certain things.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
we could do so much more as a people together than we do fighting each other.
Mhm.
Exactly. 100%, man. 100%.
All right, all right. Here on Randomville, like I said, we try to be lighthearted. We try to be, kind of informative, kind of funny, and we definitely try to talk on some sports issues. And so we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna try to bring it back up. It's not something we normally do, talk about those kind of things, but it is something that's in front of everybody, and we do have to kind of shed some light on it. But now we're gonna turn around, because maybe COVID isn't so. so it's so popular in the news right now. It does look like some of the sports are planning on either starting their season on a normal schedule or starting to come back and trying to figure out plans. So the NFL says they're planning on starting their training camps, maybe not with the fan days that they normally have, but they are planning on starting training camps and opening gyms for their teams. Along with that, what normally comes around this time are new rule changes. New rule changes in the NFL. Whether you like them or not, this is about the time when they release them and vote on them. So one rule that caught my eye is the 4th and 15 rule for onside kicks. No more onside kicks. No more onside kicks. So first off, do you prefer them finding an alternative onside kick, or do you like onside kicks?
Depends on whether it's my team playing or not and who's doing the kicking.
Right. Right.
Let's just think of it in general. Like let's think we're watching the playoffs. None of your teams is playing, right? And the onside kick is what it will come down to. If the team kicking recovers it, they still have a chance, right? If they don't, the other team basically can kneel it out, right?
Right.
A game over. Yeah.
So, do you like the onside kick in that sense?
I do, yeah, I do. I'm gonna say 9 times out of 10, the kicking team doesn't recover it because the kicker just it either doesn't go far enough or he kicks it directly to some guy, you know. So.
Well, it's the nature of the shape of the football, right? It's not circular. It's not like a soccer ball. I'm gonna kick it one way. It's gonna go in that direction. Yeah, so it hits the tip in the wrong way. It's going far right. And it's either in the offense or in the defensive hands at that point.
Yeah, I'm okay with the onside kick. I thought the other one, the new rule they were talking about, no.
So that's the new rule. So the new rule is the team that was supposed to kick it off, they have the option to go 4th and 15. 4th and 15 from a certain yard line. I don't know what it is, but even if
it was their own 25.
Yeah. So say 4th and 15 on the 25. You know, that's their option, where they'll take it from there. Knowing that rule, out of the 32 NFL teams, how many of them do you think will take that in a diehard situation? Like, we got to do this. Or how many you think will just do that every time? Like, I know I can get 15 yards. Let's just do it.
I'd say there's probably about half the league could probably get away with doing that every single time. The other half, they don't have the weapons.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually kind of interested in it in a sense of, I think 15 yards might be a little too short, you know, maybe put 20. You know, I could see that. I think 15 yards kind of gives a little bit more of an advantage because, I mean, we got some athletes nowadays. You got some receivers, you know, some taller receivers and all that. I kind of like it.
Not even taller. You got faster receivers nowadays. Faster receivers that
exactly.
make that cut
downfield a lot quicker.
They get 5 yards open. They're gone for at least 15, right? So
yeah. I mean, I would love, you know, to just see it play out for a year and then, I don't know, have some kind of vote on it, you know, like the following, like maybe this year would be good because it's, you know, it's kind of a wrangled year with the COVID thing, you know. Maybe it's a good thing to catch more views because I don't think a lot of fans are going to be in the stadiums as much as normal.
Yeah.
If they even allow fans in the
that's rough.
stadium.
Like if me and my wife attend the game, I don't want to sit, you know, 4 seats away from her, right? So how are they going to tell who sits next to who and who's allowed to sit next to what, and how they're going to cut off that amount of seats while, you know, everyone's buying tickets online? They don't know, you know. So it is going to be, you know, weird to see how they handle that, especially in stadiums.
And then I guess it kind of depends on how, you know, the reopening of our country goes. I mean, seeing these cases spike, man, you know, it kind of worries, you know, it kind of worries me, you know, personally, you know, and then me being out in the public and working on ACs, you know, it's to put myself in the seat of a stadium,
We lost.
20, 30,000 people or some shit, however much people was in the stadium, that freaks me out. Sit at home and I'm gonna watch that 4th and 15 fourth down gig, you know what I mean?
I think both of you are on track here, though. I think what's going to happen is they're going to realize that there's 5 to 7 teams that are just going to keep getting the ball back, and it's going to be rough it's going to be like when you play one-on-one and winner takes out,
Yeah.
If you can score 11 straight, the game's over. I didn't even get to touch the ball. And I think they're going to have to either revise it to be a longer distance because of those 7 teams that never gave the ball back, or they're going to say, it didn't really work out. Let's go back to the onside kick. But speaking of things not working out, didn't one of the alternative leagues have this same rule? What was it, the AAF or the XFL? Didn't one of them have the 4th and 15?
I think they did. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't tune into too much of it because both leagues only lasted for a little while,
Yeah.
But I think it was the AAF. I think it was the AAF that did it. Pretty sure. But it seems like the XFL would do that too.
Yeah, or something even more dangerous because the XFL. I mean, they always try to push the limit or something,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Now, speaking of NFL and, it coming back up, we're looking at a hot season. Kansas City Chiefs just won the Super Bowl. Nothing's really changing on their team. Lamar Jackson covering Madden, NFL MVP. We got a lot of new people coming in, a lot of teams starting off with new QB1, a lot of mix-up. Tom Brady's on a different team. Phillip Rivers is on a different team. You got rookie quarterbacks that are projected to be starting and people rating those teams pretty high just because of that one player. So let's take a look at the league as a whole, and let's kind of just go around the table and just and pick out what some of your top positions are. So let's start with Uncle Will. As far as offensive teams, who has your top wide receiver badge?
I'm going to go with now that didn't Sanders end up in New Orleans with Thomas?
Yeah, Michael Thomas.
That's going to that has a potential, and with Drew Brees back there, unless he gets injured or something, that they have the potential to be the best wide receiver duo. I know Kansas City's good, but I think it's going to be New Orleans. I think those two are going to tear it up.
How about you, Mo?
Okay, so when it comes down to it, I'm gonna have to throw it on the Bucks when it comes to receivers, man. And I mean, I hate to say that, but I mean, you got Evans, you got Godwin, and you got Cameron Brate, you got Gronk now. Who I don't even know who the running back is, but it kind of don't matter at that point.
It kind of don't matter. You're gonna get open runs.
Yeah.
If they're running, I don't know who their running back is, but if their running back is in top 5.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's I mean, I don't want to see that, to be honest. But
I don't think anyone but Tampa Bay fans want to see that.
But I got love for Evans and Godwin, man. Those two receivers are studs, man. And that's a bomb duo right there. That's a bomb duo. And then with Brady behind them, and that's why I mentioned, like, if the chemistry is right, if Brady does his thing, if he plays well, and we all know if Brady plays well, fucking shit gets scary,
It's definitely his game to live.
I mean, yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. That's a very good way to put
every game with how his offense is. And just thinking, like, even O-line, like, how well they protected Winston as much as they could. it's his game to lose every time he steps on the field because he's got the offense to win.
Yeah,
So
that's his herd, man. That's his herd.
I'm gonna have to go with Arizona Cardinals. I'm gonna have to go with
Oh,
Arizona.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Fitz
I mean,
is one of those LeBron talents. He's getting up there in age, but he's not showing any kind of sign of slowing down. He might not get as many targets as he did 3-4 years ago, but I think Fitzgerald is still a weapon on its own and deserves, the defensive backs attention just as much as any other of the top receivers out there. And the fact that the Texans made a horrible trade and gave up D-Hop to that team. I don't know how any defense is gonna cover them because if you double up on one of them, the other one's gonna be open.
Yeah, and like you said, man, Fitz is still dangerous, man. That dude is still dangerous, man. And to have D-Hop on the other side, oh my God, dude.
Yeah,
A young quarterback like Murray, he's quick and he can bomb a ball.
Yeah,
put it in place, that is scary. Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think about the Cardinals, to be honest.
Hey, did you notice we all picked NFC teams? Nobody picked any AFC teams.
Well, I think our audience is a little tired of me being Charger biased. I definitely think Keenan Allen and Mike Will can turn some heads.
Yeah.
So
same here. I wanted to say it in the worst way.
Don't count us out. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, no.
Everybody ranking us. Everyone's counting us out. But those two got really good chemistry. And I know we have a different quarterback, but those two are gonna turn some heads this year.
I believe so too.
But sticking on offense, who has the best running back tandem in the NFL? Go ahead, Mo.
I'm gonna say once again, I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna say the Browns, man. I mean, you got Chubb and you got Hunt, and I mean this past year, of course, terrible for the Browns. It might be terrible again this year, but I think when it comes down to a duo and the talent that they have in that backfield, if that offensive line can stand up for them, and if somehow Baker can, call his audibles and make a lot of shit happen, I think that is definitely a scary duo, man.
I definitely think the success of the running backs on that team is going to come down to Baker Mayfield being able to make a game as a quarterback. Because if the defense isn't scared of Baker Mayfield as a quarterback, that team's just going to run defense on them the whole game, and those running backs aren't going to go anywhere. But if we're just talking running backs, I definitely think they are probably in the top 2, top 3.
Yeah, I would say so.
How about you, Will?
I'm going to say the 49ers, man. If they bring all those guys back, they're going to be dangerous again this year, man. Those running backs just chewed up the clock last year in a lot of games. They just couldn't freaking do it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was a talented backfield, man.
Yeah. I mean, they've lost some pieces, but I mean, I still think they're going to be good.
And I got to give it to them, the 49ers. They did lose the Super Bowl and against probably one of the greatest teams we'll see in this decade, right? But they're a young team, and if they can't bring it back, they have a great foundation to build off and hopefully carry them into a high win season this year, get them back in the playoffs, get them down to that NFC Championship, and then we'll see what happens. But I definitely pick the 49ers overall as a top team in the NFC. So, but when it comes to running backs, I can't overlook Derrick Henry, man. Evans is his backup. It really doesn't matter who his backup is, because I feel like if you put Henry and Evans in at the same time, Henry will just tell that dude to jump on his back, and Henry will run 100 yards downfield and still be fast.
No shit.
Because I can't get over all these posts of seeing Henry next to normal NFL dudes. Now, I've been to some training camps. I've been to some games. These dudes are big people. But to make the other guys on the field look tiny, that's a hard job to do, man. That's a hard job to do.
He is a big fella, man. He's a load.
It's true. There is another team that I was thinking about too, and that's the New York Giants, man, because they got Barkley and they got Dion Lewis.
Yeah.
And I mean, Dion Lewis is tough too, man. But Barkley is a horse, man. And I mean, if he had a line, in front of him, that dude, 100 yards a game, easy, man.
Yeah.
Easy.
No. Yeah. If he had a line and he had a quarterback that was worth something, that dude, it'd almost be unstoppable, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch it off. We've been on offense. Let's switch it to defense. So let's go defensive lines. Something that not many people focus on. A lot of people overlook defensive lines, but you can't. After seeing, Bosa on the 49ers kind of make a statement as to being one of the reasons why they made it as far as they did. Who has your top defensive line, Uncle Will?
I got to go with the boys behind me right here, man. Come on. That defensive line, you got Tuitt on one side. You got Cam Hayward on the other side. They're bringing back L.T. Walton, I think that's his name. And then that linebacking core, man, I'm sorry. They go, hey, that's going to be tough, man. Come on. They were the number one ranked defense.
I'm not –
3 different categories or 5 different categories last year, man.
We always have that game when the Chargers and the Steelers play each other. We always have that game where it's probably not safe. We always watch it together for some reason, but it's probably not safe that we.
Yeah.
But I definitely give it. The Steelers have always been a great team. And as a sports fan, I can't deny you, man. That's a great defensive line, and to back it up with the linebackers they have, I can't see them not being ranked in the top. So, how about you, Mo? Who you got?
I mean, if this team could just get it together, man. But the Rams, man. I mean, they have a tough defensive line, man. They got a crappy offense, but that defensive line is pretty scary, man. With Aaron Donald running that shit, I mean, that boy is. I would love to have him on the Chargers, man.
Hey, when it comes up to free agency, we should hit him up because it's not a big move for him. It's LA to LA, so it's not like you got to buy a new house.
Yeah. Down the street.
We play in the same stadium. You ain't got to change lockers, man. You ain't got to change lockers. You can keep the same locker.
I know that. Right. There's a different side of the field.
Now, I'm super biased, but I'm going to give you my defensive line, and it is going to be my team. We're going to talk about the Chargers. Ingram maybe not had the best year last year, but he is still a force on the defensive line. Bosa, and anybody with the last name Bosa is going to be some kind of beast. And I don't know what they feed them or what they train. I don't know if it's like they got a farm and they wake up at 5 a.m. just to train how to be a defensive end. But Joey Bosa, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna front. When he held out for a bigger contract, I was like, let this dude go, man. He ain't even proved nothing. But as soon as they signed him and he stepped foot on that field, I could not deny that he deserved that money. Whatever he was asking for, paid the man. Because as a rookie, halfway through the season, not going through camp, not doing anything like that, as a rookie, this dude came out and was just a beast. And it's just weird to see, like, this rookie come out. And I think my screen is frozen. So I'll fix that here in a minute here. But
yeah, we still got the audio.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
For him to come out as a rookie and be a force that he was, and then the next year prove that he was even more of a force, those two together, it don't matter who's playing your tackles for you or even your single tackle. Those two create problems for you. And I do think we have a good linebacking core and a good, Derwin James stepping up, being a safety, kind of a jack of all trades on the field. But I do think our D line is the one that sets it up.
I believe that too, man. We got a tough line, man. And then we just picked up that dude from Carolina too, the with the defensive tackle from over there. I think he's like a 5-time pro bowler or something.
Davis?
I can't. No. God, I forget his name, man. But he's definitely gonna make a difference because that's where we were weak at too.
Yeah. All right. So that's the defensive line. Who you guys got as overall defense? Who you got, Mo?
Overall defense, I'm gonna say the Chargers. I mean, overall from DBs to linebackers to to linemen, we got Chris Harris now. Still got Desmond King. We got Derwin James. We got Casey Hayward. And then we just mentioned the defensive line. And then also we got a couple of underdog pickups in the draft too, man. So I think that's gonna definitely gonna help us out if it pans out the way that it should,
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's one thing Tom Telesco is a genius at, is he likes to find those guys that otherwise would be overlooked and kind of pick them up and let them know, hey, you got a chip on your shoulder, bring it to our defense or bring it to our offense.
Yeah.
Show out for us, and our fans will love you.
Yeah.
All six of them.
Exactly, man.
All six of them.
All six of them.
That's a shout out. That's a shout out to Roger Goodell because for some reason he didn't want to call up any real Charger fans and only got 6 people on their Zoom.
I know, for real. What happened, man?
All right, Uncle Will, who you got?
I'm going. Hey, the new steel curtain's back, man. They're back, man. I'm sorry, Micah Fitzpatrick back there in the back, man. Him and Joe Hayden, and then Edmonds, and then those linebackers, man. I mean, T.J. Watt he might be defensive player of the year, man, if he doesn't get hurt, man.
Yeah, and that was one thing that I couldn't understand why. Why was Fitzpatrick available? Like, I don't see how the Dolphins were just like, yeah, you can take him. Like,
he wasn't happy, man.
Yeah,
he wasn't. He wanted to get traded, and so they said, well, we don't want an unhappy guy. Our season's over anyway. So hey, we'll trade him and we'll get a
value out of him.
Yeah, get that first round pick.
And they couldn't even lose right. They couldn't even tank a season right. Like, they still ended up 3rd in the draft. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I know, for real, huh?
Like, not only are you trading away picks to have like the biggest pool of draft picks in this draft and next year's draft, but you're slotted to get number 1 pick, and you still can't lose all your games correctly.
Yeah, they won't be much better this year, I don't think. I mean, Tua's going to probably start. Yeah. But
are you even supposed to be in the NFL?
That was one thing. Flashback to the AAF and the XFL thing. That's the one thing. Like, I definitely think them and the Browns would be in that final balance to who will get sent down to play like the XFL team. If you took the XFL champions to play the worst team in the NFL, and the next season they get the winner gets to play in the NFL, I think it'd be the Dolphins and the Browns in that game almost every year for the next couple of years. So,
because I'm not sure they could have beat either team that was in the either the Browns or the Dolphins could have beat either team that was in the national title game this year, and those are college players, man.
Yeah, those are people where 2 out of 4 linemen aren't going to make it to the NFL. Unless was it LSU or Alabama? Alabama had everybody on their starting list that graduated.
Crazy.
All right, so we gonna go from NFL. We're gonna switch it up. We're gonna go to NBA. So like I said, there are talks of the NBA, coming back, having a kind of finishing out the season, whether there be playoffs or championship. But just to finish out the season or have like a tournament kind of game, in Vegas or something like that, but you look at it, players like Dame and LeBron, they're saying, it's not going to mean anything. It's practice if you ain't, if we don't have some kind of championship. To the point where even uh, uh, Dame said himself, if there's no
Yeah.
playoffs, I'm not playing. Like, what's the point? What's your thought on that? You think everyone will play if they say, well, we're not going to have playoffs or a championship. We're just going to have like a tournament in Vegas for 2 weeks.
Man, if they do that, man, I mean, I don't think a lot of players would play. They they you actually, like, as a player, you risk your whole season, all 82 games. You, you're risking the injury and all that to get the reward of a championship, and I mean, I get it with the bottom teams who towards like the end of the season, you're not ranking, you're 7 games back, you're you know you're not gonna get there, but you're playing for the sake of it as other teams chase a championship, and I don't see that. I see them possibly doing a little tournament for the 7th and 8th seeds,
Yeah.
But I mean, to just play out, like a tournament in Vegas, nah, that'll be whack, dude.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do a tournament. I don't see. I remember they were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, but I just see them starting the 16 teams, the top 8 in each conference. They're in the playoffs, starting the playoffs. Teams like Portland, who was it? The Pelicans, the Timberwolves that were on the bubble. Hey, you just ain't gonna make it this year. You weren't gonna make it anyway. You come in at number 8 and you're playing at number 1. You're playing Toronto or you're playing Milwaukee and you're the 8 seed. You're gonna get spanked.
That's true.
What's the point?
Yeah, no, 100% agree. Like, even if those teams that were kind of like on the bubble,
Yeah.
if hey, you were on the bubble, like that's not our fault. You number 9, that's not our fault. Like,
should have played better.
yeah, it wouldn't be a question if you played better and won 10 more games. Like, you would be in the championship or you'd be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because I thought I read an article that's saying they were talking about possibly resuming the season. I want to say it said July 30th.
Yeah, 31st or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, then just go right into the playoffs, man. 1-8, 2-7.
Exactly. And that would be really exciting. I mean, that would be something like, if they don't want a lot of fans in the stadium, it would still be worth playing just because of the fact that you're in the playoffs now. You want that championship in the year of the COVID,
But here's one. What if – this is the question I heard posed the other day. So say the Clippers, and I don't remember who number 7 is, that's 17, but somebody at Phoenix maybe, whoever the team is, a player in that game tests positive. Now what do you do?
So I think it's definitely like on the players, right? You got to be safe for who you got to be safe for. Like, obviously, they're playing for the fans, they're playing for the paycheck, but they got their own loved ones at home. They got their own situation when the season's over. So if somebody tests positive, I think it's an overall decision. Like, if the players don't want to play, I honestly think, it's one of those things where the player who tests positive needs to sit out. Like, you get on your own 14-day quarantine. And let's say it's somebody like Dame, right? If he tests positive for COVID, guess what? Like, you're on a 14-day COVID quarantine. Like, on your own, you can't play. You can do whatever you want outside of the arena, but you're not coming to practice. You're not coming to the games. That's just it. Yeah. And at that point, like, hey, and to make the case, like, hey, I'm the star of the team. I'm the reason why we're here. I'm the only reason why we'd get further. Well, maybe you need a better team at that point.
Maybe you need to use some more hand sanitizer too.
Yeah, maybe you need to take care of your health a little bit more. But to be honest, it's only fair to the other guys who aren't aren't sick and who don't want to risk infection, or don't want to risk bringing that home to their house, and so I think if someone shows up, I definitely think there needs to be testing, like at every game. Like you enter the arena, you get tested,
Yeah,
like, right there and
before. Yeah, before anything.
Definitely.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's even, and I know there's like no instant COVID test, right? So it's just like temperature, you know,
Right.
check your temperature. If it's high, if it's anything close to, like, if it's at 100 or above, like at that point, just like go home, like you're sick. And there's no fighting it. Like you, as a player, I think everyone should just sign that. Like if I'm at 100 or above,
Yeah.
that's it, done.
An agreement. Yep.
Yeah. So.
I think so.
So one of the sports that we don't talk about much is not showing up and is not starting, not playing. Major League Baseball. And we don't give it a much attention because we don't care for it. Sometimes I guess I would throw on a game if it was the only sport on, or sometimes when I'm watching SportsCenter, I get it.
Yeah.
Out of the top 10, those are going to be 8 plays, just because, especially there's the down period between the NBA and the NFL where there's not really much going on. But as sports fans, do you really miss the Major League Baseball?
I do. I like baseball, man. I've always liked it. So, I love seeing the long ball, but I love seeing those, that 6-3-1 double play. I love seeing the bad calls, and then the umpires got to go back and change it. I love seeing the managers get pissed off, go out there, yell at the umpire, get tossed.
Yeah. So. The thing about baseball that I noticed, I mean, on the playing field, there's a lot of social distancing going on.
Oh yeah.
Not a lot of players are around each other unless you hit the ball and you run to the bases, of course. But I mean, what gets me is that they're not really saying anything about it, huh? I mean, I haven't got any news about it. Maybe it's because I don't follow any MLB, but I haven't heard anything coming out of the MLB.
Well, they were talking about starting the season, but I think it was like the end of June, possibly starting the season. But then again, you come to that no fans in the stadium, because I know in is it Japan or China, they're playing no fans in the stadium.
Well,
but they're playing.
To agree with you, I 100% know that Japan is playing.
Yeah.
Baseball is a way of life out in Japan, so they are definitely playing out there. So I mean, it is a weird situation, especially since if you're gonna say we're not gonna play with any fans, well, then baseball itself during a normal game is almost as close as you can get to social distancing when it comes to
as a major sport. Yeah.
I mean, hockey, they still be checking each other, and I know there's that contact there. Or maybe tennis. Maybe tennis is the best social distancing sport, but Major League is definitely in the top 3. And I'm not I don't mean to bash baseball. I just I played Little League as a kid, but I just now as an adult, I other than going to a game, I can't watch a game on TV.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah. Which brings me to my question about the Major League Baseball. I'm a fan of all the baseball movies. You got Field of Dreams, Moneyball, even the baseball movie with the girls, A League of Their Own.
League of Their Own, yeah.
I'm a big fan of sports movies, but baseball has this label of being America's pastime. And now that we're in 2020, does it still own that label, or what do you think is America's pastime as far as sports?
It's the NFL, National Football League. I'm sorry. I think of it this way. For all the other sports, have you ever had a party at your house for a particular game? Probably not. I know I haven't. But football, it could be every Sunday, a Thursday night, a Monday night. But playoffs, people are having parties at their house, man. Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So to me,
Go ahead. It doesn't even need to be the playoffs.
I know.
It could be week 3.
Like I said, when you got a family mix with fans, and you have the diehard Steelers fan and the diehard Charger fan, and the Chargers play the Steelers that year, it's almost it shouldn't be, but it should. But it's almost a guarantee we're gonna barbecue and watch that game together.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there's gonna be finger pointing. There's gonna be heckling. But
jerseys worn and all that good stuff, man.
But to what Mo said, it could be week 2, week 3 of the season, and we're gonna party. We're gonna have a party like it's the Super Bowl. We're gonna have just as much food, just as many people, and just as many people watching the TV as if we were throwing a Super Bowl party. Yeah. And neither of our team was playing the Super Bowl. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So to me, baseball lost that America's pastime thing. Honestly, to me, back in the 90s, the mid 90s is when they lost it.
I would say the same thing. I think early 90s, I was still kind of a baseball fan. Like we were going to more than, a few games a year. I'm sorry to admit, I used to go because they had these giant plates of nachos, and then they used to serve soft serve ice cream in a batting helmet. It was a little mini batting helmet.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think they still do that.
I wouldn't know because I hardly ever go. But I remember that was
a couple years ago, and they were serving that up.
That was like my favorite thing. But I would still be paying attention to the game. About that time is when I was like, I could care less. What's going on.
I've never been into it.
And to line it up, it's a little weird, but I kind of relate it to me getting into more of the league sports where now I'm playing basketball, now I'm playing football. I just don't really see the appeal of baseball, and because as an athlete, like that's not something I want to play. It's probably not something I want to watch. What about you, Moses?
Paid too, man.
I think we said it on one of these pods.
I'm gonna say the same, man.
I think we said it on one of these pods when it comes to paycheck. If my kids want to pick up a baseball bat and a helmet and say, I want to play baseball, I'm all for it. I'm going to start going to every game. I'm going to start learning the sport. I'm going to start talking baseball. We're going to start going to professional games. Because some of these dudes be paying hundreds of millions of dollars to play right field and just hit a ball and have a better average than like 300. I think it's probably outdated, but like 10 years ago, I heard a stat like if you can hit the ball once out of every 4 times you come to bat, you're gonna go to the All-Star game. And I was like,
wow,
you giving people All-Stars for being 25%?
Damn.
Imagine if someone like LeBron James' shooting percentage was 25%.
I know, for real. And he go to All-Star game. Come on.
He wouldn't even be a name. He would be playing in the EuroLeague right now.
I don't know, man. Yeah, they get a little bit too much money, I think, man. I mean,
but if it's there, like I said, if it's there, I'm all for it. And if my kids ever want to play baseball and become a professional baseball player, I'm all for that too. Because definitely less contact and definitely lots of money to be made. So
yeah, less worry.
Well, Mo, that was me and you talking I don't know, last week about them. I can't remember what sport it was now, about the top money earners taking a pay cut, because now remember they're not going to have stadiums in the fans in the stadiums or the arenas or whatever. Then they're not getting anything on concessions. They're not getting anything on ticket sales.
Yeah,
somebody's got to take a pay cut.
Each position, top 5 to top 7 players in that position, whether I actually think we were talking about the NFL, Will.
Was it NFL? Okay.
Yeah. And we would say like D-Hop and Michael Thomas and Julio Jones and all these great receivers in the NFL, like top 5 or top 7, whatever you want to say, take a little pay cut, just to make sure everybody else is getting paid right and all that, while they're missing out on what they say, like $5.5 billion in what a concession and tickets and all that.
Yeah,
it's a crazy number, man. I mean, you're not gonna reach that cutting money out of but you're gonna save a little bit to keep the NFL up there,
And I can appreciate that when the community of the sport comes together and says like, hey, I'll take a pay cut to keep everyone employed and to have my season, because they could easily just say like cancel the season. Like some of those guys don't need it, right? Like some of the guys who manage their money right, who do other things. The Watt brothers got that TV show that we talked about last week, but some of them doing Dancing with the Stars, all that kind of stuff. But or the Masked Singer. But yeah, I mean, they could, they could definitely just, I'm gonna take a year off. We'll see what's up next year. And obviously, it's not fair to the kind of the rookies or the people who depend on playing. So I can get behind some of that stuff when they're like, hey, cut my salary, spread the wealth around, and let's get
let's take care of everybody.
Yeah. So that's good to see. I'm with you guys. I feel like the NFL is definitely America's sport, right? Not many countries play it. No other countries really have a professional league. It's not in the Olympics because no other country would show up, right? I mean, the closest thing you probably got is the Black Sevens in rugby, and I think it's the Black Sevens, or the All Blacks, or something like that. That's probably the closest you got to a team that could play in the Olympics against the U.S. It wouldn't be an easy sport for us to say, let's play this, and just show up and just gold medal for like the next 20 years, right? Till one country gets it together and has just like their one team. But definitely NFL takes the name America's pastime.
100%.
But for all you Cowboy fans, Dallas is not America's team. So
nope.
I just want to put that out there. I just want to put that out there. All right. So that kind of wraps up our sports segment. I appreciate it. I'm glad we could talk about some of these things in the current climate. And what we want to do is in-dock Uncle Will into one of our good games that we got going on here. It's called One's Gotta Go. And one of the biggest quotes being tossed around right now on social media is by Will Smith. So I think we'll honor Will Smith in our game of One's Gotta Go. And so I'm going to give you guys 4 Will Smith movies. And what I want you to do is give me your top picks, and then we'll tell me which one you get rid of. So the 4 Will Smith movies we're going to do Bad Boys. And just keep in mind, you lose Bad Boys 1, you don't get Bad Boys 2 or 3. I haven't seen 3 personally, but you lose 1, 2, and 3. Independence Day, The Pursuit of Happiness, and I'm gonna mix it up. Not all movies, but the entire show of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So you got 3 movies that were big for Will Smith, right? And then you got the show who basically made Will Smith who he is, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So let's see. We're gonna go round robin for the first one. So Uncle Will, you're new to the game. This is your in-dock to this game. Tell me which one of those movies you will keep. Their number one keeper, like you could not live without.
I'm gonna go with Fresh Prince. That was one of my all-time favorite shows, man. It was more than just the comedy. There were social messages in there too, things that were relevant at that time, and in some cases would still be relevant now. That would be my number one. I'd definitely keep that one.
I gotta agree. Fresh Prince definitely hit a lot of those topics. I was a kid going from child to teenager when Fresh Prince was around, and so there's definitely a lot of topics that are related to a lot of things that when I watched, those are things that I hope that I face just to go through that kind of adversity and be able to come out, kind of like the sitcom character, just come out on the top, and be positive. But definitely Fresh Prince is up there. So Mo, what's your number one keeper?
I mean, you guys took it, but I'm gonna have to say the Fresh Prince as well too, man. I mean, raised on it. I mean, Uncle Phil. I mean, Pops died when I was 8 years old, and the Fresh Prince was always on, man, and carry on in life into my teenage years and watching the reruns and all that. I mean, Uncle Phil kind of played a father figure role. I mean, in a sense of like just watching, the TV. He was my TV dad. You know what I mean? And that it's really close to the heart. The Fresh Prince. And I always wanted to be like him. You know what I mean? We have the same last name. you know, I always told, like when I was younger, when I was a little kid, I would always lie and tell people that I'm related to Will Smith, and you know, I had to do it, man. I had to do it.
I have to agree with y'all. So my number one. This is probably one time on the show where we'll all have the number one keeper, and Fresh Prince would be my number one keeper. And I know one of the clips that have been circulating in the last couple of years was the episode where his pops leaves, and there's a big debate whether that was all improv or that was scripted or whatever. And it doesn't matter. Will Smith played that moment. You know. To the point where, as a sitcom, as a comedy sitcom made for children to teenagers, and as a family show, I mean that really pulled on people's heartstrings. And they're, going back, there's the episodes where they were racially profiled by the cops and Uncle Phil showed up to save them. Carlton getting held up at an ATM by gunpoint.
Yeah.
And just and like what Uncle Will was saying is it hits so many points throughout its runtime that the message that they put forward is still relevant today, and you really can't do without Fresh Prince as being especially for us part of our era of TV and sitcoms. So
100%.
So since we all kind of picked Fresh Prince, we'll go back to Moses. Moses, what's your number two keeper?
That's Bad Boys 1, baby. Mike Lowry. Mike Lowry. Oh, dude. That movie would get me hyped, man. It still does. Anytime it's on and I watch that, I get hyped, man. I be thinking like, bad boys, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
That's the shit, man.
And then you got to get the lures on the what you don't do one thing.
If I can not begin no biggie.
Definitely. In Bad Boys, I always wanted to change my name to Mike because when he answered the phone, you on the mic with Mike, I was like, that, like the dopest. I don't know who wrote that, but that was like the dopest line I've ever heard.
Yeah, that was great.
Like, I want to answer the phone like that the rest of my life. How do I change my name?
Right?
Oh.
All right, Uncle Will, what you got as your number two keeper?
I'm gonna have to go with Pursuit of Happiness, man. That movie, that was one of those ones where he showed that serious acting, that serious side. That because I remember when the first time I saw it, I'm like, and remember his actual son played his son in the movie, and it was just they had obviously a real father, real son, but it was just that connection, the things that he did, the emotions that he showed in some of those scenes, man. It was. I think it's loosely based on a true story, but man, it was just it pulled at your heartstrings, man. I mean, all the ups and downs, man.
Yeah, no, and definitely that movie hits home as far as like his attitude. Like no matter how down he was going to show the world. Yeah, he's made of something.
Something
that's worth more than his weight in gold, right? Like he was gonna come and just be a force to be reckoned with. And it was like they could take away his house, they could take away all his clothes, they could take away all his money, but I'm still gonna show up for this free class, so that way I can make my way into this company to make something of myself. And that drive and that spirit always got me, and it really did like connect on a certain level.
Definitely a heart wrencher, Definitely I forget the real guy's name. You guys remember his name?
I can't remember, man. But that was just
I remember he was on a talk show.
It's Chris something.
I forget.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. He was on a talk show, man, and it was right after the movie had came out. It was probably like a year later, and he went on a talk show and he talked about that movie, man, and I believe he got like really emotional just talking about it, man, and like reflecting on it and looking back and looking at a very humble human being, you know, humbled through what he had lived through, you know,
Yeah.
and how he took every single moment and just tried really hard to make it a positive, man, you know, and also, you know, being black in America, being a minority through all that doesn't make it any easier, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And um, it was
We're going through
inspirational.
Atari with you, Moses.
Yeah, that's what that sounded like a little bit.
Really
Yeah,
inspirational.
he didn't hear it.
Oh shit.
All right, we lost you for a little bit there, Moses, but I think we got the gist of kind
There,
of
dude.
what pursuit of happiness is, what it means. So for my number two keeper, though,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to keep Independence Day ID4. So this kind of holds a personal weight with me, just because I'm a big sci-fi guy. Like, I love Star Wars. I love a lot of the new sci-fi stuff that's coming out. So when Independence Day came out and then like blew up the White House, and the aliens came, and it didn't look something like from the 70s. It didn't look whack like no Star Trek season 1. It was actually pretty cool. But then it kind of falls in line with my love for the movie Hackers. And it's kind of why I gravitated towards IT so much. When Jeff Goldblum was sitting there and they hacked the nuclear and sent it, hacked the internal systems of the spaceship, and there's like a little skull, and it was laughing. I was like, dude, I want to learn how to do that. Like, I want to be able to do that. Like, I want to be the guy they send up in the spaceship to save the world to hack into.
Yeah.
And then just having Will Smith as and I know it's debatable, actor 1, actor 2, but having Will Smith be there as kind of not just the comedy relief, but as the hero of the movie. It was just kind of cool. And I believe Independence Day was also the start of Will Smith's trend of being the #1 summer blockbuster movie for, like, I don't know
Ah.
how many years running.
Yeah, I want to say no, wait. Was it Independence Day or Men in Black, the first one?
No, I think Independence Day set it off.
Oh,
And
okay.
I think Men in Black was the next movie after that, and he continued that trend on. And even with horrible movies like Wild Wild West, I think he still broke some box office records and sold a ton of money just
Yeah.
because of his previous success. So definitely, I'm keeping Independence Day as my number 2. So
Okay.
Fresh Prince and Independence Day for me. All right. So Moses, which one are we tossing away? Which one of these great movies or TV? Well, we already kept the TV show. So which one of these great movies are you tossing out?
Man, at this point, I wish you had the Wild Wild West in there.
I thought the same thing, man.
But shoot, man. I mean, for me, it's either the Pursuit of Happiness, or actually, you know what? Oh no, I can't say Bad Boys 2 because I already said Bad Boys.
Bad Boys, yeah.
So I'm gonna say Independence Day, man. I gotta keep the Pursuit of Happiness, and I gotta leave out Independence Day. Just because of the I'm more of a reality, type of dude, and Independence Day. I mean, hey, maybe it was way ahead of his time.
Hey,
We don't know that yet,
hey,
but
we still got July coming up. So
exactly,
that was 2020 then.
exactly,
July's still coming. So
exactly. Every year, right?
You might just jinx us. As bad as
Yeah.
2020 has came, as
Oh
bad as
man,
2020 has been, you might just
I
jinx.
wouldn't be surprised.
All right. So Moses is throwing out Independence Day. How about you, Uncle Will? Which one are you throwing out?
I'm gonna have to agree with Moses because Bad Boys. I'm sorry, I got to keep that. So I'm gonna go with Independence Day. I love sci-fi. Thought it was a great movie, great action scene, some really good like one-liners. Welcome to Earth. And now that's hot. Now that's what is that one with the cigar? Now that I forgot the specific line, but he had some great one-liners. But yeah, I'll have to throw that one out, man. Again, I'm with Mo. I wish I put freaking Wild Wild West in there. It'd have been real easy.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make it easy on you. I'm gonna get the internet to hate me on this one, but I'm gonna have to eliminate Pursuit of Happiness.
Okay.
I think, and this is my reason why. I think Will Smith, kind of already had the acting chops to put a performance out like that. So I think if Pursuit of Happiness never crossed his desk, he never had that role on the table, I think there would have been something else where he showed off how great of a dramatic actor he was in a different role. Pursuit of Happiness is a true story. I think that guy, Chris Gardner, actually wrote a book before the movie came out. So that dude's story was there to be told. And maybe not as good as someone could have filmed it and put forth through a movie like that, but I still think that the story's out there. And as much as I love that story, because like I said, that drive, that ambition, that passion that he had to make something of himself, it really inspires you to see that. And it's one of the things that keeps me going is just knowing that, maybe I'm not off as bad as he was in that movie, but everything that I want, I'm gonna have to work for. And it's kind of the same thing I preach to my kids. But I can't get rid of Bad Boys. I can't.
Yeah, no way.
That was one of the best team ups I've ever seen. And maybe not at the height of Martin's career, but definitely up there in the apex of his career.
I agree.
And just starting off, Will Smith, just starting off. So to put those dudes off together like that and have that connection and chemistry, even to the point where now, 2019, 2020, they're making Bad Boys 3 where they're playing old dudes being cops.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. You can't beat that. So
you pretty dope.
You gotta watch Bad Boys 3 though, man. It's good. It's funny. It's good. I saw it, I don't know, a month or so ago, man. It's good.
What I'm waiting for is I'm a big digital movies guy now on Vudu. So Vudu, if you want a sponsorship, let me know. I'll put your name right here. But Vudu usually has like the buy all packs. So I'm waiting for them to come out with the 3-pack.
Okay.
Of all three of them.
Yeah.
So I can get all three because I don't have any of them on digital, and I love to just have them to just play whenever. Because even when they're on like TBS or something or TNT or something like that, I'll throw Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2 on or VH1. If I scroll across it and nothing else on, I'll just throw it on to have it on because there are parts of either one of those movies where I'm just like, it's worth just having on.
Yeah, even to just listen to.
All right, y'all. So we're running up on time. I think we went a little bit over, but great topics, great talks, great discussions. You guys got anything for the fans out there?
I mean, like I said earlier, man, just approach every situation in life with an open heart and an open mind, and watch it benefit your life.
How about you, Uncle Will?
Yeah, I would just say to the fans out there, hey, be safe and be kind to one another and take care of each other.
That's good. I know Uncle Will doesn't do social media. Maybe one day we'll get him on there, kind of like John. Maybe they can do a TikTok together or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Mo, where can we follow you again? Give him that Insta.
You can follow me on Insta at Cathartic 1987, Cathartic with a K. Also follow me at Wisdomatic Fathers. I'm kind of starting to post a little more on there. The more that I get these followers to follow me and stuff, and there's a lot of inspirational things coming from responsible fathers, and it's kind of just showing other fathers what it's like, and something.
Yeah. That's good, man. Yeah, so let's follow Mo. Let's support him. You can follow me at Cash Exploit. It's where I post most of my personal content as far as my gaming, my streams, that kind of thing. Also follow us at Randomville, California, Randomville_CA. All right, so that's where we post most of the previews as we post links to the newest episodes. Also follow us at True Island Nobility. That's our main parent company. We're going to start doing some videos there, less podcasts, more entertaining, more kind of fun videos that you see around on the internet. So you'll start seeing those come up. All right. And to end the episode, I just got to say, be safe out there. Use your head. Not everything you need to use your fist for. And just remember, y'all, as fans, as family, through blood or bond, one love, fam. All right.
All right.
All right. Have a good evening, y'all.
All right, man. You too, Chris.
All right.